So, good morning to everyone, and would like to see database management system in this hour, and goes to Unix in the afternoon session because Unix is very small session today, so that is why I have shifted to the evening session, so 3 to 4. However, so already we have seen multi-row subqueries, which are very important. Already I told you in the previous session. So multi-row subqueries could be always used to take SQL operators as in, any, some, all these. And you need to understand one particular issue here. Here, any or some will be taken same kind of activity. So therefore, greater than any, less than any. So it does have its own identity. Similarly, greater than all and less than all, it does have its own identity. You please remember these two statements. So here two statements, and here again two statements. So greater than any in the sense greater than the minimum value of a subquery return values. Subquery might be written some number of values. Out of that, it could be identified the minimum. So greater than that particular minimum value, which is being satisfied, those rows will be gets displayed. Conversely, less than the maximum value of subquery return value. So what does it mean? Subquery could be written some set of values. These set of values might be having some minimum and maximum values. So identify the maximum value. So less than that maximum value, each and every row could be get satisfied, and they can be displayed out there. And quite converse of these two will be greater than all and so less than all. So sorry, it is actually less than all. So let us consider greater than all in the sense identify the maximum value greater than the maximum value of subquery return values. Subquery could be written some number of values. Out of those values, one particular value might be maximum. So greater than all will be always taken maximum or greater than that particular maximum value. Okay, that could be displayed. So conversely, as far as all is concerned, conversely, less than all in the sense minimum value of the less than the minimum value of the subquery. Subquery could be returned some set of values. Out of those set of values, we do have a minimum value. So less than that particular minimum value, whatever the rows which would be satisfied will be displayed. More specifically speaking, any, some, all could be gets applied on only number, either number, float, or integer kind of data types. It could not be applied for any other. Only these three different kinds of data types it could be gets operated. So that is why we're talking about greater than or less than. Okay, that is the only reason why greater than and less than could be taken into consideration. Now, one more point was left over here. That leftover point will be correlated subqueries. Correlated subqueries are a bit important kind of subqueries, so which could be always specifies something. So very important here. So correlated subqueries could be. Let me copy this one and paste somewhere else. Then you could not have any. Okay, look at this. Correlated subqueries might be having its own idea. So it could be always gets operated with so self join. Okay, you people have some kind of idea what is self join. So otherwise, simply speaking, in self join we have to use one particular concept. The concept is called as the table alias. So table aliases has been used in self join. So these table aliases are supposed to be taken into consideration where in terms of correlated subquery. Normally, as far as the point of subqueries which we have to take into consideration, the subqueries will be, so as far as the discussion which we have made so far with respect to subqueries, we made the discussion in such a way. So for example, main query followed by first subquery, followed by second subquery, followed by third subquery, and so on and so forth. So if these things will be taken into consideration, something like this, what actually we have discussed. So this innermost subquery could be written some value, and that value could be operated here. And then based on the value returned by the innermost subquery, so next level subquery, so let me consider this is level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. For example, if you consider something like this, fourth level query will be executed, and it could be written some value. That value could be substituted here. After substitution could be gets happen, so this particular query is no more existed. This query could not be existed after value has been substituted in the third subquery here, as per the example given to you people. After this, it could be taken this particular query here, and it could be produced some kind of output. That output will be so substituted here. So after value has been substituted, so this value or this particular query could not be existed no more. This could be no more existed here. After that, it could be written some value, and this value is going to be substituted here. Then finally, you could get some kind of output as far as the point which we have to consider in terms of so this particular subquery here. Okay. So in terms of subquery, it could be happen in such a fashion. Now let us consider what exactly the information related to so correlated subquery. Correlated subquery could be always taken so only two level of nesting. Simply speaking, main query and subquery could be available here. No more extra. So subqueries could be gets operated here. Only one level of nesting could be taken into consideration here. So this level of nesting, try to listen very carefully. This level of nesting will be, for example, this level of nesting will be given you value 1, value 2, value 3, and value 4. For example, 4 different kinds of values have been given by this particular subquery. This subquery could be written after execution of this particular thing. It has been given value 1, value 2, value 3, and value 4. Previously, as far as subqueries is being concerned, in multi-row subquery, out of these values, it could be taken either minimum or maximum so that it could be gets executed and your operation is gets over. But in a correlated subquery, what exactly been happening here in the sense, this main query could be executed. So for value 1 once, and then for value 2 again one more time, for value 3 again one more time, means this main query could be taken. So substitute this value first and could be produce some output. Of course, output will be produced at a time only, but for this particular first value, it has been produced. After taking first value, it also substitutes second value of subquery. It also substitutes third value of subquery. It also substitutes fourth value of subquery here. That's what the example I have given to you. So therefore, main query could be always executes based on the number of so values which have been generated by subquery. Main query could be executes based on the number of values which have been given by the subquery. If situation could be seen in such a fashion, it is called as a correlated subquery, CRSQ. Okay, correlated subquery. Whereas in all other subqueries, once you have to execute one particular subquery here, so this is fourth level. For example, if you take this particular example one more time, for example, this subquery could be gets executed. It is no more existed, and it is not supposed to take one more execution. Okay, this value can be substituted in the its highest level, and this query will be gets vanished. This could be detached from the subquery list. But here, not the case, not in the similar case. What exactly it could be done here in the sense, for every value of subquery, so n number of values will be generated by the subquery. Main query could be executed for n number of times. Okay, n number of times. For each and every value, 1 can be substituted, 2 can be substituted, 3 can be substituted, and so on and so forth. If you take multi-row subquery greater than, so any can be taken by you. So if you consider this particular point greater than, where it is, greater than any can be taken. So subquery could be written some values. For example, subquery could be, let me take another. Subquery could be written value 1, value 2, value 3, and value 4 can be taken greater than any in the sense it could be take only one value from this particular list. For example, these have the specific values, original values in the sense. So greater than 1 can be applied and these three values will be discarded. These three values could not be taken into consideration here. Whereas less than any can be taken, if you take less than any here, so if same kind of values could be returned by this particular subquery, so it would be taken 4 as the value and it could be substituted here and the remaining these values will be discarded. These values could not be taken into consideration. So this is what about multi-row subquery or general subquery. But whereas correlated subquery could be if a number of values will be written here, each and every value can be substituted separately and output can be generated here. So that is the basic difference between these two. Okay, that is the basic difference between these two here. Let me evaluate what is correlated subquery here. Correlated subquery could be always taken into consideration. The queries will be seen in such a fashion here. How the queries will be in the sense. So let me write a query. Display the details of all employees whose salary is greater than the average salary of their department, their DEPT, their department. Probably their department have their own average salary. The people who are getting more than the average salary of their department, not exactly other departments or whole organization average salary. Their department to have their own average salary. Wanted to get such kind of data, so then you have to go ahead with particular correlated subquery. Correlated subquery could be, so if you take any kind of output which is related to themselves, not exactly as the situation could not be seen in the same way in all other situations, all other scenarios. So I am taking only one particular example here, that is employees information, so that here the thing will be seen like this. So for example, some people will be belongs to one particular group. That particular group does have some value. So you have to take only, so for that particular value, you may be evaluated. Such kind of situations will be available, then they will be comes under correlated subqueries. Let me have a look here. Let us have a look here. So let us take this particular point here. Set the pages 50. Set lines 100. Then select everything from. So outermost query will be select everything from EMP. This is outermost query. Then innermost query will be select the DEPTNO, comma. Otherwise, let me consider for our convenience. DEPTNO can be taken. So ABG of SAL, SAL from EMP. Then when you have to consider DEPT, otherwise aggregate functions will be there. Group by will be taken into consideration. Group by DEPTNO. Look at this. Some people who are belongs to 30th department. Some people who are belongs to 30th. Some people who are belongs to 20th. Some people who are belongs to 10th. Okay, we are looking forward for only these values. So let me take one more query here. That is order by DEPTNO. Okay, look at this. So 30th department average salary is 15,1566. So look at this. All these people are considered as 30th department. Okay, the people who are getting more than this particular salary, so 1566 more than this particular salary, they will be displayed. Okay, only they will be displayed. If you consider this particular data, this data will be taken into consideration for only 20th department. For 20th department, 2175 is the salary here, average salary. The people who are getting more than this particular salary will be displayed. Okay, 10th department, these first three people will be considered as 10th department. and the 10th department average salary is 2916. The people who are getting only, so this particular only for 10th department will be displayed here. So therefore, same query could be gets executed. So for 10th department, substitution value will be 2916, and for 20th department, so substitution value will be 2175. For 30th department, substitution value will be 1566. So three different types of values have been substituted here. So for doing this particular kind of issue, what exactly we are supposed to specify here? So let me consider. So select, look at this, select DEPTNO, because let us know what is the specification. DEPTNO, department number. So E name, then salary from EMP. Okay, EMP. So already I told you we have to consider here what is that table aliases. Let me consider this could be some value, that is X, where, okay, how this could be taken. Salary is greater than, salary is greater than. So what shall we have to do? We need to write a subquery here. Suppose if you consider, so select AVG, average salary. That is our agenda here, average salary. So from EMP, okay, from EMP, where, so okay, let us consider if you take up to this particular point and wait for a while, and if you take up to this particular point, it could be gives you so entire department average salary. The people who are getting sorry, not entire department, the people who are getting more than entire organization average salary. If you take something like this, if you want to extend this one for a while, so you'd like to take something like this. So here we need to take one column alias, sorry, table alias, and followed by, you need to compare with each other here. You need to compare with each other, that is X dot, where outermost query alias name is X dot DEPTNO will be equal to innermost query will be, let me take move to this second line. Okay, so innermost query will be taken DEPTNO. If you have taken any kind of alias name here, let me say some Y here. Let us consider Y dot DEPTNO. Y dot DEPTNO. If you take something like this, it could be, observe the difference between these two. Observe the difference between these two. Okay. So here, Allen, there is no Allen information here, whatever kind information. There is no Allen. So, but here 30th department, Allen, who is getting, what is the actual salary? Actual 1566. 1566 is the average salary, but here we could not get any kind of so output regarding to the Allen here, because one moment please, I'd like to display this one also for you, for our kind information, then it could be very easy to understand. This is the average salary of a whole organization. We are not looking for this one. We are looking for what is the average salary of 30 and the people who are getting more than that. Okay, so that is why 1566 is average salary of 30th department. Yes, he is getting more than that, and Blake also getting more than that. Followed by Jones, what is the average salary of 20th? 2175. So 2175 has more than that particular people. 20th will be Jones as getting more than, and Scott as getting more than, and Ford also getting more than. And followed by only one thing, 2916 will be, so that is the actual average salary of 10th department. Only this particular person has get this one. So hope that you do understand the difference between these two. It is the salary who are getting more than average salary of a whole organization. Average salary of whole organization. Whereas it has been taken into consideration the average salary of their department, their own department. Okay, their own department. So that is the point here. That is the point you need to consider here. So that is the difference between these two here. If such kind of situation could be existed, then you are expected to take this kind of query here. So here we have taken an table alias here, and this table alias has been executed exactly so one time based on the So average salary, which is being taken by the specification here. So therefore, it could be seen in such a fashion. This is the way you could write. You could write your correlated subquery. Whereas correlated subquery could be taken two different types of extra operations. Sorry, not extra operations. Two different types of SQL operators. That is EXISTS exists, and of course, if you conversely not exists. So, what is the importance of exists or not exists here? What exactly it could be taken into consideration here in the sense? So normally this exists or not exists will be, let me go ahead and explain by taking the assistance of this one here. So normally, one moment please. Normally this subquery could be, so this is main query and this is subquery here. So this subquery could be given you, so some 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, not exactly these values, any kind of values can be given here. So main query could be having some kind of data, and we have to apply some what you call some condition here. That condition will be existed within this specific set of values or not. If it is existed, then yes, it could be. If it is not existed, that could not be displayed. If it is existed, it could be displayed. If it is not existed, it could not be displayed here. So how this could be gets operated here in the sense, how exists could be taken into consideration here in the sense. So select something, so column 1, comma, column 2, comma, and so on. So from, so table name, so where it must be also operated in where only, but it doesn't take any kind of operands. I mean, two operands cannot be taken. It is unary kind of operator here, where exists subquery, and this subquery must be so taken the assistance of main query or subquery might be taken the assistance of a table alias. Okay, table alias must be taken into consideration by this particular subquery here. Now, let us consider how this could be done here in the sense your SQL. If you go ahead and take the SQL part here, let us consider select everything from so DEPT. Okay, this is the data which is being available pertaining by department, and select everything from so EMP. Okay, so previously what we did by taking the assistance of what is that outer join, in addition to equi-join data, so the data which is not participating in equi-join could be displayed here. So let me take the consideration here. So select the DEPT dot DEPTNO. So ename, otherwise dname, followed by location, followed by EMPNO, followed by ename from EMP, comma DEPT, where so EMP dot DEPT NO will be equal to DEPT dot DEPT NO. If you take something like this, it could be displayed to you. So the department numbers and the associated so department names and which have been there with us. So here, so operations, party operations Boston doesn't have any employees, so that you could not have any such kind of data here. You don't have such kind of data here. So if you want to display that particular data by force, so you have to introduce one specific operator here at child side, something like this. So it could be displayed something like this. Operations Boston. It could also be displayed in addition to the equi-join. This is the output of equi-join. In addition to this output of equi-join, it could be forcibly displayed. Okay, this is the activity of outer join here. Now, the question is, my superior asked me, so display the departments which does not have any employees. display only department name, department number, and location. Only that information. I don't require any other. I don't require any other. So only, so don't require this particular data. I don't require this particular data. Wanted to display only the department name, number, and location. So if you take employee number, employee name also well and good, but you must be taken into consideration that only display department number, department name, and location, which department doesn't have any employees. That is the question. Don't display this above information. Then such kind of a thing will be there. Then you have to go ahead with the correlated subqueries with exist. Correlated subqueries with exist. So look at this. Select DEPT NO, DEPT NO. So D name, department name. So location from DEPT. If you take something like this, everything will be displayed actually. Select star from DEPT or department number, D name, location also the same. So let me take this is the alias of DEPT. So where already I told you exist cannot be taken. So two parameters. It could be taken single one only. It is unary. So exist. So followed by select everything from EMP, everything from EMP. Okay. So where EMP could be taken into consideration as E, where so W here is where so D dot DEPTNO is equal to so E dot DEPTNO. Sorry, E dot here, E dot DEPTNO here. So if you take something like this, yes, these are the okay. As far as our point of view, as far as our point of view, it should be not exist. Not exist. Sorry, not exist. Wanted to display only the 40. Okay, look at this. Look at this. We do have only this information, something like that. The people who are not existed for this particular department. Okay, so who are the departments who are having some kind of employees wanted to display that yes, this is the way. Exist will be always looking forward for whether data will be existed in the subquery or not. Not existed, not exist in the sense whether it is equal or not. It is going to check in such a way. So these are the two different types of so correlated subqueries. One is existing kind of subqueries, and second one is so execution which could be happen so with their own data, something like this. So these two are comes under so correlated so subqueries here. Correlated subqueries could be seems in such a fashion. Now let me consider. So as of this particular point which is being taken into consideration, so we have been completed so some 40% of SQL has completed. Only one point is left over here. The point will be set operations, and the objects in the sense wanted to display something about discuss something about view, sequence, and then materialized view, and then synonym, and then already I have discussed with you, doesn't discussed, but a user, how to create a user, and then all these things are required. Index, the index. So these things. So creation of all these things will be discussed by me after two to three classes, because so here one moment please. So here as far as unit number two already we have completed. As far as this particular thing in unit number 3 we have completed. So nested queries has been completed, aggregate operations have been completed, null values have been completed. So complex integrity constraints has been completed, and we have to discuss this union, intersect, accept, and these values could be, these operations could be discussed with us, with you. probably by after 2 to 3 classes, because I need to complete the theory related to ER model and all other database designs. So we need to discuss this particular theory. Probably it could be taken two or 3 classes. So up to this particular point, yes, up to this particular point, 2 classes will be taken, and foreign key constraint, general constraints, okay, relational algebra. So this particular thing, selection, projection, set operations, and renaming, joins, and division. Up to this one class will be taken, and tuple relational calculus and domain relational calculus will be taken one more class. Totally 3 or 4 classes will be taken to finish up this particular entire unit. So because you are well versed with so SQL, I'll forward one assignment to you through Google Classrooms today in the soon after completion of this particular class. I'll forward immediately, and you have to evaluate. I'll give you some from which query to which query will be submitted to me back, on which date I'll give you some deadlines also. Based on the deadlines, you have to submit each and everything to me. Okay, so here unit number 3 we have been covered. So nested queries have been covered, aggregate operations have been covered, null values has been, is null, is not null, something like that has been covered. So integrity constraints, how constraints will be gets operated, has been covered. Okay, so here only one thing is remained, that is set operations, union, intersect, and except. So these things will be gets discussed by us very soon. And the form of basic query also be selection, then followed by update, delete, and so insertion has been completed, and creation and drop, and then alter has also completed here. Also everything has been completed here. Probably after completion of this particular whole thing, I'll let you come to this triggers and cursors, okay, triggers and active databases. Thereby we will discuss many issues. Then we have to finish off unit number 3 also within 4 to 5 classes. 4 to 5 classes. Okay. So this is today's class, and if you have any questions up to 5:30, I will be available. Please post a question to me.